Right, let's try that again, shall we? Part 2. Getting fed up with this internet. There's nothing I can do about it, though. It goes off literally for 3 minutes once a week, maybe, at the time of the stream. If I switch providers, it's the same pipe. So all comes through the same thing. All the companies use the same network. Nothing you can do about it. It's Virgin, basically. Since they had that problem weeks ago where the entire UK went down, ever since then, every week there's been at least 1 or 2 incidents where you just go off for a few minutes. It's never happened. 5 years I've been here, never happened. Now they've broken something. They just don't know what it is, obviously. So anyway, I'm back. How we all doing? So anybody get on that long? Just as I went off, I was saying, this is rejection. This looks like this is going to go long and do the gap fill. Anybody get on it? Great timing, Virgin. Right, so yeah, we are looking like we're going for the gap fill now. So look for a play back up to there. We rejected the limit orders triggered at the yesterday's low, so we're off. So looking like a good long opportunity back up into the gap fill. When we get to the gap fill, your guess is as good as mine, because it's basically taking us straight back into the middle of this little kind of micro range we got going on at the moment with those highs and those lows as targets. So could go anywhere from there. Right. So there's the DAX done. That's your opening range breakouts. So if you took the pre-market 5 or 15, you had a nice reward this morning. So you got 1.5 hour on that, I think. So look. Not quite. Actually, no, you didn't. No, wasn't very good this morning. So you wouldn't have got 1 hour on it. It would have been a stop out. Depending on whether you're using a trailing stop and how big your trailing stop is, you either got stopped out at break even or just a small loss, I'd imagine. The 5-minute opening range break was a stop out and then flip back the other way. So that'll be a profitable one if we get the gap fill done, as will the 5-minute pre-market. So flipping it on its head, 5-minute pre-market. The gap fill is 1.5 to 2 hour. And the 5-minute opening range to the upside is there. So you're looking at sort of 3R on that for a gap fill. So we'll see if that plays out. Looks like it wants to at the moment. And then obviously once that gap fill's done, we can decide where we go from there, up or down. How many we got back? 37 in here now. Right, okay. That's half the people have made it back then. Right, let's do the ADRs. So, so far this week and this month, we have nothing. So there's no monthly range hits at all yet. Very, very, very contracted, tight market this week and this month. So nothing's hit those monthly ranges yet. Scanning down it, there's very little that's actually getting anywhere near. I mean, Euro odd is possibly the closest thing. Actually, no, it's not. Euro CAD is the closest thing to hitting, and potentially Euro New Zealand. So it's Euro pairs basically, but nothing's hit its monthly at the moment. So weeklies, we're on Tuesday, nothing. So we didn't get enough movement yesterday. We hit 1 ADR yesterday, which was the pound yen. And as I said in the part 1 of the stream, that pound yen ADR reversal worked out beautifully. Already in, already out. It's probably plotted on here actually. Pound yen, where are you? There you go. So that was the pound yen ADR reversal yesterday. So that was your entry. And that was your exit. If you're targeting a third of an ADR, obviously. So yeah, so nothing there, and there's nothing today ADR-wise. So ADRs today, you need to keep your eye on the pound pairs. So all the pound pairs basically are on their way to ADRs. Again, nothing particularly close. Pound Swiss is getting the closest at the moment, but obviously the pound's had a negative reaction to the news. Not massive though. So we've had a 1 hour candle down and that's it at the moment. So they could well retrace this up and spend the next few hours just sitting around going sideways. So There isn't anything really to look at on the ADR reversals at all today. So this might be quite a short second video. Morning, John. Afternoon, even. Welcome back. Morning, Stevie, again. Phew, worse than trading the markets, your dropouts. I know, it's terrible, isn't it? It's like, I've been streaming for 4 years, either in YouTube or previously when I had the private live room, and never had any problems. And it's literally the last 4 weeks since Virgin blew up. But it's so intermittent, you know, and it literally only, the dropouts only last for about 3 minutes. Unfortunately, YouTube, if you're disconnected for more than about 90 seconds or something, I don't know what the cutout actually is, it just drops the stream and it stops it. So you have to restart it. Whereas my software's sitting there going, I'm trying to reconnect. Google's turned it off. So you can't do anything about it. If it happens, we just have to restart. But it is rare, you know, it's not, I think it's happened, what, 4 times in 4 weeks? I do like 10 sessions a week. So it's not actually the end of the world, is it? But it's bloody annoying. RSIs, flat. We've got nothing to look at on the RSIs today. So all RSIs are flat. Basically, any RSIs extensions we've had over the last week have all played out. So as you can see by the P&Ls on all strategies, we've got no risk on anything much, and just banked profit on all mean reversions. So all the H1, H4 RSI strategies all working. ADRs are all working. It's just making money, which is lovely. But there's no opportunities to get into anything today. So any exposure you have on at the moment is the exposure you're going to be in today, unless we get any pushes. I can't see us pushing very hard today until 1:30. So I think this morning's session, you're going to find you're sitting around basically waiting for CPI at 1:30. When the CPI and the retail sales are out the way, we're off. So tomorrow we've got the Australian wage price index tomorrow morning, and then 10:50 we've got Bailey speaking. But apart from that, there's no other news tomorrow. So the next major news is unemployment rates for the Australian dollar, and the next major news is unemployment claims on Thursday. So from 1:30 this afternoon all the way through to really 1:30 on Thursday, there's no news to affect the US. So I think once this is out the way today, we'll have a good couple of days of movement. And I think we'll probably get the ADRs done either today or tomorrow. So it's a bit of a crappy session today. So what we'll do this morning, if there's any pairs specifically you want to look at, let me know, or anything you want to cover. There's a few things mentioned in the Telegram group. I don't know if the guys that asked questions in the Telegram group are in here. I didn't have a chance to check the channel this morning before I came on. But there was a few questions about setting up the EA. And there was a few other questions. Adam, can we get the full info on tomorrow's live stream and recommended EA strategy for the Feedall challenge? Right, so for the Feedall Crest challenge, you can't trade EAs with Feedall Crest for a start. So there is no EA settings for Feedall Crest. But somebody wants to talk about settings for prop firms with the EA. So I'll quickly go through that. Is there a way to backtest the ORB and MT4 over a period including summer and winter months without having to deal with DST? No. With the opening range EA, can I still trade manually? With an EA, can I trade manually? No, it's an EA. It trades for you. You can obviously still trade manually on top of it, but someone has actually answered that question about MT4. Someone's answered the question about prop firms. Right, okay. So no one cares. Why are you asking questions in the Telegram group? Why not ask it in the chat in here? Sorry, just reading, catching up on that. Okay, so Euro US dollar and Euro pound someone wants to look at, and CAD yen. So let's start off with CAD yen. Actually, let's look at all the yen pairs. So CAD yen, we are in a nice little symmetrical triangle formation at the moment, just retracting and contracting within that range, looking for a push back down into that propulsion gap potentially. We've got the big one down the bottom there as well to look after. There's no RSI extensions on the hourly. The last extension we had, as you can see there, was that trade there. Had one there, one there. Just basically playing the RSIs. At the moment, it's flat. So there's no entries on it at the moment. If you look at all the yen pairs, so what we've had is that yen weakness. We've pushed up into that high, which is the previous monthlies. And all these yen pairs really are doing very much the same thing. They're all contracting. When you get a contraction, the contraction ends with an explosive breakout move usually. So we are waiting at the minute for something to kickstart the yen. Or the yen is just going to sit there and stay contracted and not do anything, and we're waiting for the other currency to move it. So in the instance of the CAD yen, obviously 1:30 this afternoon, this thing's going to pop up or down. So this contraction that we've got playing out at the moment on the CAD yen at 1:30, that symmetrical triangle pattern is going to break. Probably to the upside. All depends on what happens with the inflation figures, doesn't it, for Canada? So if we get the inflation figures going down, Canadian dollar will drop. If the inflation figures go up, the Canadian dollar will rally. We've got to take retail sales for the US into account as well for that one. So targets to the downside basically at the moment. So you can see every propulsion. So we've got that accumulation break, retest, bounce. That's more of a V-shaped recovery, that one, but retested and bounced. That one there, retested, bounced, broke it, went up. So looking for that still, really. And we've got this old one down here. But we're in a big old range at the moment, and we've made a new range here. So where we are is kind of at the highs. I'd be looking for some strength probably on that CAD for shorts on it. But we're not extended at all. You can see the contraction really well there as well. Look. So you've got a bit of divergence there and a contraction on the 4 hour. So it's basically it's one of those contraction patterns which is difficult. Normally with symmetrical triangles, what you tend to find is if the push is up and then the contraction happens, you tend to get a flag break to the upside. If the push is down and then the symmetrical triangle happens, you tend to get a break to the downside. Doesn't always happen that way, but more often than not, the contraction is an accumulation before a second leg on the move. So think of it like a trend. Yeah. Instead of doing a pullback, what we do is we do a push and a contraction and then a leg. Yeah. So whatever the previous move was before it happened tends to be what it is. In this case, it's very difficult to pick a direction on it. Yeah. So there's not been a move up really. It's moved up, pulled back. This is more of a sideways move than a rally or a drop. So very difficult CAD yen. Not really anything I'm interested in at the moment. If CAD rallies up into these highs, especially ADR today, and that would be a really nice ADR reversal up there. So CAD yen, that's all I've got. Euro US dollar and euro pound. So euro US dollar, we're coming back down. We're just coming off the monthly low. I've got one long on this, which was the ADR reversal on, the RSI extension on the 5 and 50 and H1. So H1 RSI extension, M5 Reverse Alert in there. Not going anywhere at the moment. Potential for this one to drop again today on US dollar strength on retail. So we'll see what the retail figures come out as, and we'll see what the CAD unemployment comes out as. But there's this big old propulsion gap target up there at 125 ADR. So that's where I'd be looking to go. You can see the previous support lines and resistance lines in there, these black lines here. That's really where I think we're headed. So this is more of a V-shaped recovery, this propulsion gap here. And we got this little one down here as well. But euro should be bullish, although we did have that was it Stormoras? Not familiar with that name, but rate hikes are close to an end, i.e. we have got more hikes to come. Read into that. They're close to an end, but they're not ending. So we have got some. So Euro should be bullish. We're just pulling back at the moment. So they're pulling back off of the interest rate rises because they didn't get what they wanted to on the euro. So I would suspect that this will continue to go long. The US dollar, I think, is on its last legs. So weakness on the US dollar, strength on the euro, it's a long. So I like this here where we are and pushing up into there. But eventually, I think we can challenge that high and go further. So that looks good for longs. Euro pound. This is obviously popping against the pound at the moment because the pound's just had negative news. No extensions on this. Last extension we had was down here. That was your entry, exit, sideways. So this is kind of day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sideways at the moment. 4 hour, you're coming out of that extension on the 4 hour. So we've gone into a kind of downtrend here, as you can see. But it's not really a downtrend. It's a range. So you've got two kind of ranges at play here. So this one we've broken out of, and we're just doing a price discovery to the downside, filling this propulsion area. This previous area of balance, which we broke out of and went up into this area of balance, will be next target down there. So where we are right now, there, you've got two opportunities at play, either coming back down into this propulsion gap at 175 ADR, which is where that previous balance was, break. That's the high of that. Or we're going to push back up into the top of this range. So last month's high, previous month's high, month before's high. Strong euro, fairly strong pound still. So strong against a strong is a range. So just try and play all the RSI extensions that you get, really, which is exactly what's been happening. And they've all been playing out very nicely. So that one to there, that one there. No opportunities on that one either. Flat. DAX has done the gap fill. So if you took that, when I called it, I think, did you hear me call the long? I don't know if you heard. I was halfway through saying, this looks like rejection at the lows, looks like the limit orders are triggering, and I was waffling on. I have no idea when the connection dropped out, but I said this is a good long to do the gap fill. But I don't know if anybody heard. So anyway, that's played out. So the gap fill's done on the DAX. So we have options now from here at yesterday's high and last week's high and the previous week's high. So this whole zone up here, which is around about 3/4 of an ADR, is where we are looking today. So those levels there, you've got, that is yesterday's high. That is last week's high. That is previous week's high. That is ADR. So those levels there are where you're going to find your limit order triggers. So we'll probably pull back before we get up there, but that's where I'll be looking for shorts today, if you're not on the long. But the long, if you took the pre-market 5 long or the 5-minute ORB long, your quids in basically. So the pre-market, you are 2R. And the 5-minute ORB, you are coming up for 3R. Excuse me. So there you go. There's your opening range breaks. All good today. They've been absolutely flying. All the opening range breakouts have been doing amazing the last couple of days. Absolutely killing it. Watch this high as well, which is it's kind of the New York high from yesterday. So that's New York open. It's New York high. So just watch that level as well before we get up to that high up there. Right. So that's all the RSIs and the ADRs covered. There aren't any. It's flat. There's no opportunities today. So everything we're in. We're just waiting for stuff to play out. DAX filling the gap. Yes, done. Hi, just realised I can get into chat. Hi. Would it be worth the buy order just above the 2-month low on EG? If you want to. I mean, I don't play breakouts in FX. I play mean reversion. But if you want to, basically you're saying I want to buy that high. Think about what you're doing, though, when you're buying that high. Yeah, you are buying after the market has moved 125% of its average daily range. It's exhausted and it's due for a pullback. So as soon as you get into that trade, it's likely to pull back and you're going to go and draw down immediately. You're buying against a massive downtrend. So if they are going to do a pullback on this move, you're buying just as they start to sell the crap out of it. Yeah. Breakout strategies have a very low strike rate. 80% of breakouts become false breakouts because the market spends 80% of its time in balance or mean reversion, where buyers and sellers are in equilibrium. It then spends 20% of its time on price discovery, trying to find a new level to find balance and equilibrium. This is what we call a propulsion gap. Yeah. And if you're trying to place breakout orders on any time frame apart from scalping time frames like M5, you're basically buying straight into what is likely to become resistance all the time. Every breakout that you find will be going into a previous area of support resistance, which is why I don't do it and why most people that try and trade breakout strategies end up stopping, because they can't make it work. You can't make it work. If you're going to take a breakout strategy, you have to basically have a wide stop, because most of the time they fail. Doesn't mean it's going to come down and take out your stop, but what it will do is that false breakout, and then it might get enough steam to get going. So you've got to have a stop down there. The fact that you've got a stop down there means that your entry is there. That is your risk. So a 1-to-1 return on a trade like that is going to be something like 100 to 150 ADR. So you are asking for the market to move 100 to 150% of its average daily range just to give you a break-even trade. Just not viable. Breakout strategies are very, 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 very difficult to make work. So I wouldn't. But up to you. Which is why the market reverse alert indicator is here. Yeah, this indicator is to tell you when the opposite side is taking control. Yeah, so the buyers have got control at the moment. Yeah, we've had a break in structure, so the buyers are in control. The buyers have made their move. So if you're trying to get on board with those buyers, they are going to be running into the sellers, trying to drive it back down again. This is why the market reverse alerts indicator is so good at signaling entries, because you're getting on board with the buyers as they start their move. And as long as you get 2 legs out of it, you're going to make money. If you wait until they get to the point where they're going to meet the resistance from the sellers, you're just going to struggle constantly. So you get in on the reversal alert, i.e. if you're looking for an hourly break here, you want to be taking the M15 Reverse Alert, which is here. Yeah, that's where you're going to get in, somewhere up there. You've missed it. It's gone. You've missed the move completely. ORB today actually made money. Good job. Brilliant explanation. Would you mind telling us what causes bug Wicky Candles on H1 trend reversals? Bug Wicky Candles on H1 trend reversals, or any time frame? I don't know what a bug Wicky candle is. What's a bug Wicky candle? Oh, big Wicky candle. Yeah, okay. A big Wicky candle. Yeah, that I get. Right. Bug Wicky Candle. I was like, what? Have I missed something in 15 years? There's a terminology I've not heard of. Big Wicky Candle. So basically, let's try and find something decent. Something else. There's loads of big Wicky Candles all over the place, isn't there, really? But so I'm just trying to find a really good example. A couple of good examples. I want one mid-range and one end of range, really. Market's so flat at the minute, it's difficult to find anything. Let's look at the hourlies. That's better. So, big wicky candles, basically. So, any candle that's got a large wick, yeah, it's either going to be a hammer, a shooting star, or some kind of doji or spinning top. Typically, that's what a big wicky candle tends to be. Yeah, one of those four. So all they are pause candles. Yeah, doesn't mean they're going to be reversal candles. It means they are a pause candle. So there's only three things that can happen in the market when you have a candle close, however that candle closes. Yeah. So let's say this is a bull candle. Yeah, it's closed there. There's only three things that can happen now. You are either going to trade inside of that candle completely. So there's the high, there's the low. You're either going to trade inside of it, which means that during this fight for buyers and sellers, nobody had enough buy or sell orders to attempt to make any moves in either direction. The second thing that can happen is you get an outside bar, which is basically we push up above the high of that previous candle, we push down below the low of that previous candle, and then we come back and we finish somewhere inside it again. So that's an outside bar. So you've got an inside bar and you've got an outside bar. Both of those are pause candles. They mean that there's no advantage from the buyers, there's no advantage from the sellers. The third thing that can happen is you have a bull move where we close outside of that high, or you have a bear move where we close below that low. Yeah. So we're either going to, from any candle, not make any movement, or we are going to make movement. There's only three things that can happen after every candle, which is why I always say what happened yesterday in yesterday's candle has got absolutely nothing to do with today's candle. The outcome of today can be one of three things: inside, outside, bullish or bearish. Yeah, you either don't move or you do move. That's it. That's all that can happen. So a big wicky candle is basically this one here, for example, where you've got nice head there and a big long wick. Means that basically the sellers that are in control here have been pushing down, and they tried to get a close down there, but the buyers pushed them back, and we ended like that, which often means it's going to be a reversal back in the opposite direction, which is why everybody, when they first start trading, goes, oh, hammers and shooting stars are the best thing ever. And then they find that they fail 50% of the time, because when that candle closes, the odds of this going up or down are still exactly the same, 50%. Not all wicky candles are built equal. So if you see one like this, where you've been pushing down, 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 and then there's a big push and a rejection, that is often the start of a reversal. I have a pattern that I talk about quite often in here called a 3-bar reversal, which is where you push down hard, you pause, and then you push up hard, which means that the sellers have been selling hard and the buyers have said, we've had enough of this, we're pushing back, and you go back that way. 3-bar reversal, excellent reversal pattern. Consists of 3 candles. That can also be a spinning top or a doji. So that's all it is. It's designating that the sellers were trying to make progress and they couldn't. This candle before it here, yeah, is spinning top. That indicates that we were pushing down, pushing down, pushing down, and the sellers tried to continue. And they went, no, 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 no. The buyers came back and said, we're not going any deeper. They tried to push up and the sellers said, no, we want to go further. Indecision. Yeah. So what you got here is a move down by the sellers. Yeah. And then they hit indecision, followed by indecision. Yeah, followed by indecision.